Fall. The season where I don't have time to wax poetic because there's way too much good anime on right now. I don't think I've ever had a tougher time narrowing down my seasonal recommendations, even with 5 of the biggest shows being much hyped sequels, which I don't generally put on these lists because I figure most of the people who'd be interested are already watching them. Fall 2019's lineup of original content is just that strong. Still, after watching almost 30 brand new series, narrow it down I did to give you the 10 anime that I think are most worth your time this season. This episode of Ones to Watch is sponsored by Sentai Filmworks and HIDIVE, the anime streaming service that brings you both great new shows every season and an impressive back catalog of classic shows, movies, and OVAs that you can't find anywhere else. Stick around to the end of the video to learn more and find out how you could win a premium box set of High School of the Dead. But there's no time for that now. We got way too many great anime to get through. Even the gacha anime this fall are on another level. I almost had 2 on this list, though in the end only Fate Grand Order Absolute Demonic Front Babylonia made the cut. The show's standout feature is obviously its title. It's not every day you see a colon, an M dash, and a / all in one place, but it also delivers solid animation, kick-ass fight scenes, an abundance of moe, and a surprisingly engaging story. I've never actually played Fate Go, so my first impression of this show was that it's weird seeing all of these familiar characters in a context outside of hentai, but I quickly found myself getting drawn into the series' plot about an agency of time-traveling wizards who fight in the past to avert a future apocalypse by undoing the time distortions created by the wishes of the past Holy Grail War victors. The anime's plot picks up in the middle of this crazy quest, but it is pretty straightforward and easy to follow, by Fate standards at least, and a neat inversion of the series' central conceit of bringing historical figures to the present to fight. Were I a hardcore Nasuverse fan, I'd no doubt be excited to see the history of Fate's world so thoroughly fleshed out and to meet iconic servants like Gilgamesh back when they were just heroes rather than heroic spirits. Heck, even as a casual fan, that's pretty neat. But to be honest, I'm mainly here to see the game's legendary tier waifus bouncing off each other between some badass fight scenes. And on that front, Babylonia does not disappoint. The first episode alone is packed with impressive Sakuga battles, but what really impressed me about it was the restraint in its writing. So many gacha anime trip over themselves to throw as many fan-favorite characters at the screen as quickly as they can, their plots grinding to a halt to make way for an endless parade of character name cards and lame fan service gags. That's ultimately what kept Azure Lane off this list, impressive as some of its fight scenes are. Fate Go, in stark contrast, introduces only 4 of the game's collectible servants in the first episode. Not only does this give the story some much-needed room to breathe, it also means that we get to spend genuine quality time getting to know Mash, Enkidu, Ishtar, and of course they made Leonardo da Vinci a waifu. Not gonna lie, I kinda love that. And you know what? I at least like all of these characters, because I'm able to know them as more than just cute faces attached to fan service gags. This is the rare gacha anime that feels like it's actually trying to tell a good story first and sell me shit second, and that's really nice. Another indication of this season's quality is the unusually high caliber of its isekai offerings. There's no less than 6 new isekai anime this season, plus SAO is back, so somebody definitely needs to call anime over for an intervention, but somehow, against all odds, all of the shows this season are solid 7 out of 10s or better. And while I'd like to talk about the whole lineup of them in a future video, I do have 2 I'd like to highlight today. I've spent a long damn time searching for an isekai to fill the void that Konosuba left in my heart, and this fall has delivered 2 very promising contenders. The first, the hero is overpowered but overly cautious, clearly wants to put me out of a job by laying out its whole premise right there in the title, but I won't hold that against it because it's really goddamn funny. The show goes even more meta than Konosuba does, building up an entire world of gods and goddesses whose sole function, seemingly, is to summon heroes to save fantasy worlds, all from Japan specifically because the popularity of isekai there means that they tend to catch on faster. The star of this story is Restart, a beautiful and bubbly young healing goddess who's helped to save a few worlds already but has no idea what to do when she's assigned to an S-level planet so scary that it gives even veteran gods the willies. She thinks she's saved when she stumbles upon the totally broken stat sheet of Seiya Ryuguin, That's a hard one. But she neglects to read the fine print that says he's way too cautious. Before he's willing to even set foot in his new fantasy home, he spends a month exercising his way up to level 15, and he's the type of guy who will use several finishing moves to kill a level 1 slime, you know, just in case. The cautious hero thrives on fun back-and-forth banter between the deadly serious Seiya and the exasperated Restart, as well as some top-notch comedic animation that's going to seriously upset the current anime reaction GIF meta. The show's satire of the isekai genre feels different from that of Konosuba, more driven by the clash of real-world logic with isekai conventions rather than sarcastic genre savviness, but it's no less clever. The first episode had me howling with laughter from beginning to end. With its unique premise of an animal-loving wrestler being summoned to another world as a hero and deciding to set up a pet store for the monsters he was brought to kill instead, Kemono Michi Rise Up, the season's other funniest isekai comedy, sets itself even further apart from the straightforward wink-and-nod genre parody of Konosuba, which is funny because it's written by the same guy, Natsume Akatsuki. Director Kazuya Miura and Studio ENGI sadly don't deliver anything close to the impeccable visual comedy that characterizes Studio Dean and Takaomi Kanasaki's work on Konosuba, but Akatsuki's anarchic sense of humor and consistently excellent dialogue delivered by a talented cast of seiyuu still manages to make this series shine. The sheer absurdity of seeing a masked wrestler suplex a princess and then run around a medieval town in his spandex shorts like some weird pervert was enough to give me some hearty laughs. Our hero Genzo Shibata, aka Animal Mask, is an absolute delight, infusing each scene with bombastic bravado that you'd expect of a pro wrestler, tempered by a sweet, childlike love for all things with fur, scales, feathers, or even exoskeletons. The uncomfortable but not entirely unhappy reactions this elicits from the realm's many fully sentient beast people are pretty funny, and the fact that these gags are motivated by an innocent love for animals means that they didn't leave nearly as bad a taste in my mouth as they would have if he was just your average awful anime pervert. Ultimately, I don't think Kemono Michi is quite as funny as its predecessor or as The Cautious Hero, but it feels refreshing to see a comedy isekai that offers something more than a slightly different perspective on the same old RPG tropes, and I think that the concept of presenting a JRPG bestiary as a bunch of misunderstood, adorable good boys holds a lot of potential. There's also every possibility that this could get funnier as it goes on, considering its impressive pedigree. No anime season is truly complete without at least one Moe Club show. There's not a hobby in existence that can't be enhanced with a liberal dose of cute girls doing cute things, and depending on your tastes, this season offers two great options. Rifle is Beautiful, or Chidori RSC, has a bit of an edge in terms of pure Moe appeal and animation quality, but in the balance of things, I found Afterschool Dice Club to be more engaging, or at least more to my tastes. As the title suggests, the cute thing that the cute girls in this show are doing is playing German board games at a local shop after school. I've been really getting into tabletop gaming lately, and this show is proving to be both an accurate representation of what makes the hobby so fun, with its emphasis on imagination and friendly competition, and a great source of recommendations for my next game night. Because everything they play in the show is a real game that you can pick up at your local tabletop shop, like right now. That could easily make the show feel overly commercialized. I'll admit, episode 1 definitely sold me on Marrakesh, but it offsets that potential product of the week vibe with a strong, character-driven story about how play can help us learn to take risks and gives us space in which to break out of our shells. I was really drawn to the shy, anxious Miki and her bright and bubbly new best friend Aya, and I found their interactions with each other and the rest of the cast to be very charming. Afterschool Dice Club captures the distinct, relaxed atmosphere of a group of good friends huddled around a table hucking dice, and as someone whose busy schedule makes game nights fewer and further between than I'd like, it's been really nice to get a dose of that as part of my daily anime diet. Even if you don't play board games though, if you enjoy cute, low-stakes, slice-of-life comedies, this is one that you don't want to miss. And who knows, you may find yourself with a new hobby, or at least a few new things to do with your friends by the end of it. If you like your stakes a bit higher and your competition more intense though, Ahiru no Sora, a new shonen basketball anime that's heavy on hype, might be more your speed. Carrying on the proud sports anime tradition of throwing short kids into tall people contests, Ahiru no Sora's titular hero is Sora Kurumatani, a passionate pipsqueak who never backs down from a fight and has thus lost over 200 in a row. and who loves nothing more than flying up to the hoop on the wings, sneakers, given to him by his dead mom. Which is a bit of a problem, as it turns out, since the boys' basketball team at his new high school has been taken over by violent delinquents who'd rather lounge in the clubroom and peep at the girls changing next door than actually play. And their prideful leader isn't about to let some upstart punk play on his turf without permission either. Plucky as he is, Sora probably can't change that with his fists alone, but maybe with his skills and passion for the game, he can prove that he belongs on the court. I'm sure you see where this is going. Indeed, the OP gives away that these surly thugs and the bright-eyed Sora will eventually come together as unlikely friends and take on the world of high school basketball tournaments. But you don't come to sports anime for crazy, unpredictable plot lines. These kinds of shows are about the journey, not the destination, and the thrilling moments and colorful characters we find along the way. Ahiru no Sora delivers on both. Sora is a great, likable protagonist who serves as a solid emotional anchor for the series, which means that his future teammates are free to go pretty far out there with their antics. This is a show driven by big personalities who make even bigger demonstrations of their passion and drive, and it's got a gritty, rough-and-tumble bros being bros vibe to it that's just really fun. I don't know, I'm generally a sucker for hyped-up, red-blooded shonen sports ball action, when it's handled well, of course, and thus far, Ahiru no Sora has been doing a great job of scratching that itch. If there's two things I'm an absolute sucker for, it's zany Sherlock Holmes adaptations and jazzy anime about Rakugo. So, I honestly can't say if anybody watching this will actually enjoy Kabukicho Sherlock, or Case File number 221 Kabukicho, as Funimation's calling it, as much as I am. But I don't care. I'm digging it. As the title suggests, this particular take on the world's greatest detective brings Holmes and Watson to the streets of Kabukicho, Tokyo's famously wild red light district. A town where detectives are never short of work, but lately the whole district has been quaking in fear of the dreaded Jack the Ripper. Yes, this is another Holmes adaptation that pits the brilliant detective of Baker Street against the infamous Victorian villain, and yeah, my first reaction to that was to roll my eyes too, but Kabukicho Sherlock's fun, unapologetically campy tone quickly won me over, and I found myself really loving its take on literature's most iconic detecting duo. Watson is charming and capable, as he should be, while Holmes isn't just an aloof asshole. He's socially oblivious and standoffish, sure, but you can tell he genuinely loves solving mysteries, and he's so lovably theatrical in how he goes about it. He delivers his solutions to the mysteries of the week by putting on notably bad Rakugo performances, and Watson endears himself to his future partner by going along with the act, which is really fun. They've got great chemistry with one another, which is vital to making a Sherlock Holmes story work. So, of course, is writing good mysteries, and there too this show delivers. Without spoiling too much, the show manages to drop a lot of subtle clues through dialogue and background details to help you solve the mystery, and while the solution to the first one is by no means obvious, it does give you a chance to observe everything that Holmes uses to make his final deduction. There's no hand-wavy mind palace nonsense to be seen here. This is very solid mystery writing. It's not easy to make these ubiquitous characters feel fresh and exciting while capturing what made their original stories great, but Yoshimura Ai and Production IG have gotten off to a promising start here. Something else I'm a sucker for is melancholic coming-of-age sports dramas, and boy howdy is Stars Align, the latest original anime from Escaflowne and Noain director Kazuki Akane, ever a great example of that. The show's premise is simple enough. It's about a dying soft tennis club whose lone genuinely passionate member must struggle against outside pressures and his own teammates' apathy to keep it alive. Hope comes when his athletically gifted childhood friend moves back into town, but he's gonna need some convincing before yada yada yada, you've heard this all before. At least in the broad strokes, but where Stars Align shines is in the small details. I mean that in terms of how it's written. Every character we've met so far clearly has a complex inner life, and I want to know more about them, but it's also true from a production standpoint. The simplistic character designs allow for subtle, expressive animation, the backgrounds look grungy and lived in, further reflecting the personalities of their occupants, and every shot is carefully composed to convey meaning. I had flashes of my favorite Mamoru Hosoda soda films while watching this. It's that good. Thematically speaking, the show seems largely concerned with the inherent duality of early puberty, the struggle to maintain your youthful cheer and optimism as you mature and become increasingly aware of how dark the world around you really is. The mood at school is largely bright, comedic, and lighthearted. The interactions between our deuteragonists Maki and Toma are particularly fun, but then we come home, meet their families, and things keep getting increasingly real until... well, I won't spoil it, but the last few minutes of this show's first episode hit me hard. 8-Bit Inc.'s last original anime was Comet Lucifer, so I'm a bit wary of this one, but if Stars Align can stay as good as it's been so far, it could easily be the best new anime of the season. Well, maybe not easily. It's got some competition this fall. The Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead of harem anime is pretty high up there on the list of phrases I never thought I'd get a chance to write, but here we are. Are You Really the Only One Who Likes Me, Oresuki for short, is a darkly comedic, subversive take on the popular rom-com subgenre that follows not the lucky boy with 5 beautiful girls chasing after him, but rather his incredibly lonely best friend. Our hero protagonist is Amutsuyu Kisaragi, a boy who seems to be your stereotypical doormat harem hero, but is actually a deeply cynical, manipulative, narcissistic sack of garbage who only plays that role because he thinks it'll get him laid. After being lucky enough to hear 2 heartfelt declarations of love from the gorgeous class president and his bubbly childhood friend in the same weekend, each directed at his handsome baseball captain buddy Sun, of course, Kisaragi hatches a plan to help them both in their romantic pursuits, hoping to pick up the loser as a consolation prize. Yeah, he's really not a good guy, which makes it all the more satisfying to see him swiftly get his comeuppance when he's approached in the library by the quiet, creepy bookworm Sumireko Pansy Sanshokuin. Pansy, it turns out, does like Kisaragi, so much so that she's been stalking him for years. And now that she's got some dirt on him, she finally feels confident in confessing her feelings. If he wants her to keep his secret from Sun, he's gonna have to spend a lot of time with her. Oresuki had me rolling on the floor with its clever subversion of harem conventions, and even if you're not super familiar with the genre, it's got a lot of great standalone gags that should make you smile either way. But what's really remarkable is how good it is at playing those tropes straight. Strip away the comedic premise and the fan service elements, the interactions between the characters and the emotional confession scenes could all work in a more conventional take on the genre. And that works because Sun-chan and the girl who likes him, unlike our heroes, seem like genuinely good people who you want to see be happy. Those surprisingly effective moments of emotional honesty are married to the twisted comedy by an excellent score that walks the line between beautiful, harmonious compositions and quirky, discordant, Earthbound-esque ditties. I'm impressed with Oresuki on basically every front, and I could easily see it being my favorite new anime of the season. Ah, there I go again with the unjustified easilies. We still have some good anime to talk about. There is nothing easy about rising to the top of a seasonal lineup with 2 shows like those and one like Babylon, which is the one anime this fall that I really couldn't put down. I marathoned the whole thing in one sitting, despite the time crunch I was under to finish this video. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's the best show of the season, just that it plays to the addictive one more episode compulsion that mystery thrillers are so good at eliciting. And it plays to it well. Babylon follows the exploits of Zen Seizaki, a public prosecutor with a strong moral compass whose investigation into a shady pharmaceutical company takes a dark turn when he and his partner Fumio find a bloodstain on one of the company's documents. Quickly, the situation snowballs. Bodies start piling up and signs begin pointing to a sinister conspiracy operating behind the scenes of Shiniki, Tokyo's newly formed special economic district, where tech and trade are intended to advance at an unprecedented pace. Seizaki sees hints of a scandal brewing that could shake Japan to its political bedrock, and that could very well be just the tip of the iceberg. Babylon is an intense detective thriller with a nigh unmatched sense of mood and atmosphere. Bold, surreal editing and directorial choices make even its more mundane political aspects feel fraught and exhilarating, elevated by Jin Aketagawa's impeccable sound design. And as the layers peel back on its central mystery and Seizaki inches ever closer closer to the truth, it only gets stranger and bolder. Those extreme choices are backed by a strong production that emphasizes dramatic lighting and subtle, expressive character acting. The seiyuu and animators working on Babylon do an excellent job across the board, but one scene in particular from episode 2, a tense interrogation that's used as a framing device, blows them and every other animated performance this year out of the water. The scene and episode is utterly captivating, and I can think of no better phrase to describe Babylon as a whole either. So that's 3 out of 10 shows that are neck and neck frontrunners for anime of the season. And remember, I'm not even counting sequels like Hiroaka here, but if you can believe it, there's still one great anime left to go. No Gun's Life is a very serious, densely atmospheric cyberpunk thriller about a man with a gun for a head, and the tragic, unfair discrimination that he faces every day because he has a gun for a head. And somehow it's actually good. Thank you, anime, for blessing us with such a bountiful autumn harvest. No Gun's Life actually provides a pretty sensible explanation for why its main character has a literal snub nose. In the far-flung future, cybernetically enhanced humans called Extended have reshaped warfare. But now, in shaky peacetime, these living weapons struggle to reintegrate into society. Many are shunned by their fellow man, though in a way they're the lucky ones. Others are forced to toil away their entire lives as mechanical slaves for heartless corporations. Juzo Inui is a bastion of light in this cruel, dark world, defending the defenseless by investigating cases involving the city's extended population. He's a hard-boiled, hard-smoking, hard-fighting detective whose face is a gun. And he has revolver chambers in his fists that he spins to punch things harder, and don't even think about touching the trigger on the back of his head because that's only for his nakama, and he's coming for you, evil sexy cyborg nun lady. Somehow, No Gun's Life has managed to make me feel sincerely invested in that story. This is the reason that I will watch anime until the day I die. There is no other creative industry on the planet where you could get away with this premise and actually make it unironically work. I love it! That said, there are plenty of other great reasons to watch anime, and plenty of great anime this season that didn't quite make the list. I try to give you guys a broad range of recommendations in these videos, but I can't make everyone happy even at the best of times, and this fall especially, I'm sure that a lot of you have your own top 10s that look very different from mine. In fact, I'd love to see them down in the comments. Before you go do that though, please stick around for this quick word from today's sponsor. HIDIVE is an anime streaming service that, in addition to your usual simulcast fare, offers a curated catalog of niche shows, movies, OVAs, and even some quirky live-action titles that no one else has, many with high-quality English dubs. For those hardcore anime connoisseurs who feel compelled to watch the best series of every era, HIDIVE is where you'll find all-time classics like Cobra the Animation, Pat Labor, and that mainstay of every weeb's backlog, The Legend of the Galactic Heroes. To complement that fantastic selection, they offer a fantastic array of options to enhance your viewing experience, like customizable subtitle styles, playback speed settings that go up to 4 times acceleration, a chat feature that lets you coordinate online watch parties with your friends, and MAL scores built right into the page so that you can add shows to your list as you're watching them. Feature-wise, I don't think any anime platform is working quite as hard as HIDIVE to give weebs what we really want, all for the low price of $5 a month. So click the link in the doobly-doo to sign up for a 14-day free trial and see for yourself what sets HIDIVE apart from the pack. To help celebrate this spookiest month of the year, HIDIVE has hooked me up with a premium box set of the horror classic High School of the Dead to give away to one lucky basement dweller. If you want to win, all you have to do is follow me on Twitter, retweet the pinned post promoting this video, link in the doobly-doo, and reply to it saying which show this season is your favorite and why. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I wish you happy watching with all of the new anime that you've got on your plate now. I'm Geoff Thew, professional shitbag, signing out from my mother's basement.